Well, hello there. Sitch and I did a movie review of The Fantastic Four, and I just want to come in and give a brief plot summary of the movie for some of you who may not have actually seen it. Obviously, this is going to be a spoiler-laden summary. Our review is also spoiler-laden, so if you don't want spoilers, hey, maybe watch another video. So here is the basic plot summary of the movie. The Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm lead an idyllic life as heroes with Sue pregnant and the team preparing for parenthood. The plot escalates with the arrival of the Silver Surfer, herald of the planet-devouring Galactus. The team ventures into space to confront him, learning Galactus desires their unborn child, claiming it's a being of ultimate power that could allow him to retire from his planet-eating job. Sue goes into labor, forcing her to give birth aboard their ship during an explosion-filled retreat, resulting in baby Franklin's arrival. Once they return to Earth, many want them to sacrifice their infant to save the planet, but the four tell him hell no. Reed devises a plan to teleport the Earth to safety, but is thwarted by the Silver Surfer. Johnny convinces the Silver Surfer to turn on Galactus after guilt-tripping her over her tragic and genocidal backstory. It turns out that Silver Surfer sacrificed herself to save her world, plunging her into a life of genocidal rampage, serving the planet-eating Galactus. To save both the Earth and baby Franklin, the four engage in a plan to teleport the Earth to safety. Once this plan crashes and burns, because obviously it's a terrible plan, they elect to lure Galactus to the Earth, using baby Franklin as bait and teleporting Galactus to a distant universe. Plan B succeeds, hooray! Though Sue seemingly dies in the battle with Galactus. Oh no. But of course, surprise, she lives. Maybe being revived by baby Franklin's powers? It's not really clear. The film ends with the guys comically struggling to install a car seat and embracing their new family dynamic. An after-credit scene teases Sue discovering Doctor Doom with baby Franklin. What will happen next? All right, so here is our review of The Fantastic Four. What were we going to talk about? Oh yeah, Fantastic Four. We both went to see the movie Fantastic Four, and now we are going to tell you our take on it. My biggest problem was I was a little bit bored.
Like the whole way through, or at certain parts?
That's my overall take. I mean, a little bit through the whole thing. I mean, there was some great parts, obviously. I thought Galactus was amazing. There's lots to love in this movie, okay? I didn't hate it by any means.
It wasn't the fantastic snore.
It wasn't. Well, no, I wasn't a snore, but it wasn't as exciting. Like, I like Guardians of the Galaxy a lot better than this movie. So, but this movie obviously diverged quite radically from the style, the standard Marvel style. They went a little bit more in the serious direction, which I have thoughts on as well. So what is your overall take?
I thought parts of it were boring. I thought the part where they were looking for the planet, or where they were looking for Galactus, how to get to him, it felt like it kind of dragged in the middle part. The beginning, I thought, was fine. The opening sequence, I actually really liked the opening sequence where they show like the backstory. They show how they're saving people. They show they're fighting crime and how everyone loves them. And, you know, we both saw this movie right after we saw Superman. And I was watching this. I'm like, this is what I think the Superman needed in the beginning. He needed this sort of establishment of the heroes and their role in the city and the role in society and how everyone feels about them. Because that kind of sets the mood for the rest of the story. So I did like that part. After that, I didn't think it was boring, but I did have some major problems with not explaining information. Like, they don't really go into why Galactus is eating planets and what his goal is to do this, why he really wants. I mean, they kind of established that he wants the baby because somehow the baby is going to take up his role, but we don't know what his role is, so we don't really have a thought about that. They don't really explain why the baby has special powers whatsoever, that Galactus would even want the baby. And they kind of set up this moral question, which would have been interesting, where Galactus is going to trade the baby for the Earth potentially. He's like, at first he's like, I'll, if you give me the kid, I'll spare your planet. But then they don't do anything with that moral dilemma because no one really considers it at all. And I remember watching the movie and thinking like, this is kind of crazy. Like our heroes, like I understand it's their child, but our heroes for like they don't even consider it for a second. Like maybe we should sacrifice our child to save like 8 billion or 7 billion people. However many people are the Earth. It was a weird thing in my mind that they set it up and they didn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, especially if you're going to go down the serious route, right? You've got a very serious conflict here with real stakes, and they never actually explore it. So I felt the same way about a lot of the things you're saying about the conflict being kind of muddled. Most good movies are a debate over a point of view, and there is a serious debate to be had on this one life versus an entire planet, especially if it's an innocent life like a baby, but totally unexplored. Totally. And even there's moments in the movie that kind of undermine that central idea, that central conflict. So I mean, obviously it's a comic book movie, and I think a lot of my take revolves around I think the magic of the Marvel 1.0 where they had kind of this really hokey kind of subject matter, right? You're talking about moving the earth. You're talking about a giant that comes and eats the earth,
Yes,
right? This is
yes,
super hokey subject matter.
that's true.
So stylistically, if they're cutting jokes and quipping and it really has that comic book feel, right? I think that's why Marvel 1.0 worked. But Marvel 2.0, where they're going to go in kind of the DC serious, like Batman Begins route, this is real gritty and real life. I don't know that you can bring in a giant that comes and eats planets
Hmm.
into that
Mhm.
kind of serious, I'm going to give you the scientific understanding of how this works. Like as soon as you set that kind of tone stylistically, then all of a sudden I'm asking myself questions, right? This is a scientist and he's doing science, right? I'm asking myself, well, how do you digest an iron core of a planet, right? When Galactus shows up, I'm thinking, isn't there kind of a scale issue here? Like this guy is kind of a gnat walking on an orange. Could a gnat eat an entire orange? How would that work, right?
Right.
There's all these issues that come into play. But if I'm into the characters and they're cracking jokes at each other, kind of it's interesting because now DC turned Superman into an action comedy where I think you can get away with a lot of this ridiculous stuff when there is, quippy comic book style editing and writing. I'm not sure that you can get away with it in a realistic scientific realm.
I don't know. Like, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel like they were trying to go for the DC tone in this. Like, parts of it felt more serious in terms of like the dramatic part where they're fighting someone or they're trying to save the baby. Like it felt more serious, but it didn't ever strike me as like Zack Snyder, dark, gritty, realistic. Like it's to me, I kind of felt like I felt the beginning part was very campy with like the 60s, 70s style, the way that everything kind of looked. I think they were kind of going for that old style campiness. So I don't know, I didn't really get that same vibe that you got about the seriousness of the movie.
So I want to explore I mean, obviously in the movie, I'm not really thinking of it from an analytical point of view. I'm just kind of my first viewing. I'm trying to kind of,
Right.
just feel the movie, right? It's
Of
not
course.
really emotion. It's not motion pictures. It's emotion pictures, right? I'm trying to just view it and feel it. There's a lot that I liked in Superman because I was hooked. I was engaged. I didn't feel hooked and engaged here because I thought the subject matter was things that I had seen many times before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long time before we get to our first moment of conflict. And I think conflict, obviously, for me, is what engages me. And the first conflict is really like Johnny is upset about the suits. Like it's going to be Reed is going to be a new father, so he's worried that's going to cramp the style of the Fantastic Four. So it's super, super superficial conflict. Now, in most of these movies, they get around that because the opening scene of the movie is like Galactus or Silver Surfer, right? They're coming in, they're going to destroy the world, and we know that that's coming, right? So they kind of satiate your appetite as an audience for conflict, and then they go into, oh yeah, they're having a baby, painting their idyllic world, and there's kind of this dramatic irony that you know, okay, this idyllic world is going to be destroyed, right? Well, I mean, if you saw the trailer for this movie, you know that that's going to happen, right? So you're somewhat satiated. But going into the movie, you don't know that. If you didn't see the trailer, you're watching for 20 minutes before Silver Surfer even is on the scene. So you're like, what the heck am I watching here? Is this some sort of romantic comedy or something? I'm watching three dads and a baby. What's going on here? Right? It seems super, it wasn't entertaining for me at all. Well, I mean, it was somewhat entertaining because obviously they had beautiful sets and beautiful character design and all of that stuff. But I really wasn't engaged in the story until Silver Surfer shows up.
I was okay. I mean, I agree with you. The conflict doesn't really start until Silver Surfer shows up and says Galactus is going to eat the planet.
Right.
That is when the
Yes.
conflict in the movie starts.
That's your inciting incident.
Right. And that's like 20 minutes probably into the movie.
Yeah, 20 minutes in, 23 minutes in. Oh.
Yeah. Did you actually look it up?
Yeah, totally.
You were timing it. You're saying you had your phone out.
Well, I did a
my
second
conflict timer. Okay. Go.
Well, I did a second listen to the audio while I took notes. So I did do kind of a second pass through the movie.
Okay. Yeah. So that happened. I don't know. It for me it was okay just because I think it's been so long since there's Fantastic Four movie, and the original one was I never liked it very much. And so I was kind of fine just immersing myself in the world, simmering in the world, and them setting all the things up. That didn't bother me. That didn't bore me. I was interested in that stuff enough. Once the conflict starts, and then they're like, okay, now we have to go find Galactus. I actually felt like that's when it sort of started to drag until they find Galactus.
Right.
So and maybe this goes back to the whole thing. I would have liked, well, okay. My overall feeling with the movie is that it was too safe and standard, and that kind of made it bland. Like it didn't feel like, I feel like it needed something deeper to make me invested. And this is where I point to, I think there's two real elements here, which would be, I think Reed Richards' character needs to be recast and rewritten completely. I think like everyone except for Pedro Pascal, their acting was fine. I liked all the people in their roles. They all did, I think, a fine job, an okay job. But for Reed Richards, to me, I think if you want to make the character interesting, he needs to be written as a character who really loves science and is always looking for a way to figure things out. He's always looking for a way to be like, okay, I need to understand all the variables of a problem, and then I'm going to solve it. And he needs to express his love for science in a way that motivates other people around him to be like, wow, this guy's really smart. This guy's really interesting. Like he's really good at this. Instead of I have a pet peeve, which is in all these Marvel movies, the way that they show a character smart is they're like, oh, this guy's smart. And he'll say a bunch of science fiction gibberish that doesn't make any sense. And then the next scene, they like build a robot suit. And you're like, oh, I guess he's smart. As opposed to, if I were to bring up an anime example, there's an anime called Dr. Stone, where a character called Senku, and he part of what makes anime interesting is that he's really explaining how to do science in a way that people, you and I and other normal people will be like, oh, that's how you make plastic. Oh, that's how they make gasoline. Like he'll do these things on the fly that you go, oh, you actually understand that the character is smart, and the people around them understand the character is smart, and it kind of motivates them. They go, wow, this guy's really cool. And I would have really liked Reed Richards to be the character who's always looking for a way out. And so that, because I thought it was weird when they have that scene with Galactus, they go to Galactus. Galactus wants their baby. They don't really know why. And no one really tries to have a conversation with this entity that wants to destroy their planet. And to me, that would have been the perfect scene that Reed Richards, the character who's always trying to figure a way out of things, like they could have them so that all the characters they fight, they lose like very quickly to Galactus and Silver Surfer, kind of to establish the threat level of these villains. And then Reed Richards like, hold on, like, hold on, like, you want the baby? Like, what's going on here? Like, why do you want the baby? You know, maybe we can come to some sort of agreement. And then Galactus could actually explain what his motivation is, what his backstory is, why he wants the baby, and all these other things. Which I don't know if you know this. I mean, I only know this because of my prior comic book knowledge. The whole point of Galactus is that he's supposed to absorb energy until the universe ends, and then he'll release that energy and start the next Big Bang.
Really? Wow.
And yes, and so and actually this would have fit perfectly with kind of the theme of sacrifice, because you have Galactus is like, oh, I'll, give me your child and I'll spare your world. So you're sacrificing the few for the many. And Galactus's entire role is the same thing on a larger scale. You'll sacrifice a few, you'll sacrifice planets for the many, for starting the entire universe again, right? So it kind of has that theme going for it. And it's weird to me that they didn't go into it, because it seemed like it was perfectly set up for that. And then you could have I mean, maybe they didn't go into it because then it'd be like, well, do you need our baby right now? Can't he like grow up first and then he can take your role? And then Sue and Richards could try to like teach him to be maybe a Galactus who doesn't eat plants full of life or something. Like maybe that's why they didn't go into it. But I do feel like they should have explained all this to create some sort of interesting moral quandary that the characters would actually have to grapple with. And maybe Reed Richards, who's like more sciency, is actually considering, giving up Franklin to Galactus, and Sue is like completely against the idea. Just you have to do something with that dilemma, I think, if you're going to present it to the audience.
Yeah, the Galactus lore was way underserved and it created all sorts of issues. It seemed like Galactus had some sort of job he was doing and
Yes.
he wanted the baby to take over so he could retire.
Yes.
Which the lore that you're laying out sounds way more interesting and it seems to be based in the comic books. And I don't know how you could get a kid to take over for you if your job is literally creating new universes. It seems like a very particular skill. But
Well,
I
that's what's weird too, is because Franklin Richards does have that power in the comic, and they're portrayed as like opposites. Like Franklin creates universes, and Galactus like eats planets. I mean, he eventually restarts them, but he like destroys things.
yeah
And I mean, that's part of the issue too, is that, and I don't know how well this is really explained in the comic, but as an audience member in a movie, I want to know why Franklin Richards and Sue Richards' child is like the super powerful god baby. Like, I feel like that does need to be explained to some extent, or hinted at there's some explanation to that.
yeah, it's a giant point of interest. It would be great to explore it. Same with Galactus. Galactus is the best thing about the movie, I thought.
Yes.
So, and that's why I thought just opening with Galactus would have been great, because get him in there immediately, get the immediate threat on screen,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could go into the backstory of what's going on. So
Like have
another,
him eat a different world or something, like right in the
yeah, look,
beginning.
you could do that, and then you could
Yeah.
see actually the process. I kept thinking as he's walking around through New York City, how's this guy going to eat this whole planet? He's walking around on his plate,
Yeah, I
right?
think when they show up, you see he has like a ship that like tunneled through the planet, and he has all these wires in his back. So I assume, they don't really explain it. I'm assuming like the ship destroys the planet, and somehow the machine he's plugged into, like, it absorbs and goes into him or something.
Opening scene, Galactus ship crunches up the planet. We see the planet go into Galactus and Galactus get bigger. Then we
Right,
know
right.
everything. We also
True.
know what's coming for the Earth. It would
Yes.
be so much better. Yeah.
Hmm.
So also there the fact that she's pregnant and decides to go into outer space completely goes against Sue's character, especially later in the movie when Sue they talk about that they're going to use Reed is thinking about using the baby as bait to catch Galactus, to capture
Right.
Galactus and teleport him across the universe and save the Earth, right?
Hmm.
And she's dead set against it. She's just, we can't even think about that, which is not smart anyway. I don't know why they're not exploring that central conflict of their entire movie, right? They should
Right.
be. This is the conflict of the movie. We want to see them engage and argue. We want to see two smart people engaging over something torturous, but
Hmm.
that never actually takes place in this movie. So, but then the fact that this is after she already went into space, 9 months pregnant. I'm like, she's getting onto a spaceship and she's just ready to burst at any moment. What's up with that? That seemed completely insane to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was funny because Sam said the same thing. I thought that was I thought it was really weird. I think they could have fixed this. I think they should have had something where either Galactus was coming to Earth because he knew Franklin was going to be born. Because
Yes.
it was weird. Like they just fly and then they scan, and then Galactus scans their ship and he's like, "Oh, you just happen to have the God baby that I need." So it's like,
It,
okay, well, if he would have just destroyed the planet, he wouldn't have known that. Like that seems like a massive screw up on Galactus's part.
if they went to Galactus and she didn't know that she was pregnant, and we got some of that backstory of they've been trying to get pregnant and haven't. So
Mhm.
they go, Silver Surfer comes, they go on the mission, they're standing in front of a Galactus, and Galactus is the one that gives them the news that she's pregnant. That would add a whole nother level of conflict to that scene, because she would be like, what? I'm pregnant? I can't get pregnant, right?
Mhm.
And
And then they'd have like 9 months to prepare for
you
Galactus to show.
you would have to, well, they kind of play with the timeline anyway. I'm
Right.
like, the kid's like 2, right? When they finally show up. So they go out and meet him. The baby is born on the spaceship as they're almost crashing, which is just, that's not good parenting. Okay,
No, no, no.
that's very bad parenting. So, but if they went out, you would get around this problem, because obviously she wouldn't know that she was pregnant when she was going out to meet Galactus. It'd be your standard action movie, right? They're
Hmm.
going out to see Galactus, and then Galactus says, "Oh my God, you're pregnant. Give me the baby." And there's this question about whether or not Galactus is just messing with them, or if she actually is pregnant. Like, as soon as Galactus says that, the ultimate goal would be get to a pregnancy test, right? I don't know if they
Right.
carry those on spaceships, so I
Probably
don't.
not.
They might have to wait till they get back to Earth to find out if she's actually even pregnant.
Right,
And
right.
then you've got all of the conflict going at once, right? You've got them back on Earth just finding out that she's pregnant for the first time. You've got Galactus coming to destroy the Earth. And then you could also change the timeline a bit. So Galactus is saying, "Oh yeah, I've got like 6 other planets to destroy, and you're the 7th in line, and I'll be there in, 2 years," right?
Well, if you did it the way that you're saying, you could have it. It would make sense that Galactus would wait because he's going to wait till the baby's born.
Yes.
So you could do that. You could have a situation where I don't know, because on one hand, I wonder if it would have been better if it was implied or directly said that Galactus did something to make the baby special, and like he like
I don't think that's
used.
in there. I don't think
It's
there's
not in the
anything like
movie.
that.
It's not in the
Oh,
movie
it
at
is in
all.
the comic? Is that what you're
No, no,
saying?
no. It's not in the
Oh,
comic either. In the
okay.
comic, I think he's just like a combination of the fact that he's a mutant plus the fact that they have their cosmic radiation powers. Like
Oh
those
yeah,
two
yeah,
things
yeah.
combine to make him super powerful or something. But I don't even know if Marvel even has the rights to use mutants in films anymore. I don't know what's going on with any of that stuff. And none of that makes sense. I would have been fine if they maybe implied that or even said that Galactus used power cosmic, if they explain what power cosmic even was in the movie, to somehow make Franklin as powerful as he was. Or you could have just had um
That would
Galactus,
be good.
he knows that Franklin's going to be born. And Sue, you could have Sue's pregnant already, and Silver Surfer comes up and says, instead of saying like, "Oh, we're going to destroy your planet," Silver Surfer comes up and says, Galactus wants to talk to you, and if you don't come, he's going to destroy your planet. Like, so they set that up right in the beginning, so then they just follow Silver Surfer to Galactus, so you don't have to have all that sequence of them going to find Galactus and all that stuff. And then that's when you sort of learn the lore and what's going on in the story.
Right. So what was your take on the ending? I think we pretty much talked about everything up until
Yes.
the climax.
So my take on the ending, I would have changed two things. Richard's original plan to teleport the Earth to another solar system is so stupid that it's like insane. You're like,
Well,
wait a minute, like the planet has to be in very careful alignment with all the other planets and the moon around the sun. Like the
we're
idea,
gonna lose our moon. I
yeah,
kept
we're gonna lose
thinking,
our
what's gonna
moon.
what's gonna happen?
Is it going to take all the satellites? Like, I don't know. It's like an insane idea that we're just going to
Totally
move the
insane.
planet.
Yes.
And like, so I would have got rid of all that. That's so stupid. He should have just had the original plan. That's what I've done. The original plan was always just to teleport Galactus away. That's fine. That was the plan. Um, and the thing I would have changed was I did not like that the way it plays out. Well, first of all, the way it plays out is very silly. Galactus like walks out of his ship and just starts stomping around like Earth, and he like scans the city, and there's no one in the city. They've evacuated the whole city. Which, first of all, I did like that they showed the evacuation, unlike in Superman, where I was like, "Where's all these people dying here? What's happening?" So I'm glad they showed it. But Galactus like scans the city. There's no one in the entire city except for the baby, and the baby's on like a cartoonish circle, like basically a giant red X. And I'm like, okay, is Galactus the stupidest person in the
I
universe?
was thinking the same
It's
thing.
like the most obvious like Looney Tunes level trap. Like the baby's literally in a giant target. I was like, come on, this is so. I mean, he doesn't fall for it. Like he does stop right before he gets there, but it was so absurd that they would think that he even fall for it. And on top of that, the baby's sitting in between two giant like teleporter prongs. Galactus has some sort of magic scan eye vision that could scan the baby to know that he has superpowers, even when Reed Richards couldn't scan the baby that well. So why couldn't he scan the whole city and see, oh, they put a baby in between teleporter prongs? Like it just seems silly. The
Yeah,
whole
totally silly.
concept. Yes. So and also, so you have that. And then also I don't like the fact that basically at the end of the movie, it's just Sue really pushing Galactus into the teleporter, which I feel like she shouldn't be that strong to push like earlier in the scene we see Galactus flicks. Okay, he flicks the thing into space. That's how strong he is. So you have Sue is somehow able to push him herself. Like I don't like that. I would have preferred if it was a joint team effort. You could have Reed Richards. He uses science. He does something so that like the ground has no friction. So it's basically like ice. That way, Sue pushing Galactus would have made more sense
Oh, there you go.
because then it's like, oh, he just can't like
He
he's
made
really
it easy
strong, but
for her. He loosened the jar.
right, like he's really like Galactus is really strong, but he doesn't have like he's like trying to grab on the buildings and shit, and like because he just can't stand up properly or something. Then you could have Johnny's like his fire is actually like pushing him back, and the thing is like throwing trucks and stuff at him, and it's knocking him back and all this other stuff. So you could have like a team effort to kind of push Galactus into the portal, and you could have the same thing where, well, first Silver Surfer shows up because it would make sense for Galactus to send Silver Surfer to get the baby. They actually fight Silver Surfer. They all lose. Then Johnny does the whole thing where he plays the audio of her planet and all the planets begging, and that convinces Silver Surfer to leave. That's what causes Galactus to come to the planet. Like he's like, okay, I guess I have to go do it myself. Then they play out the sequence that I talk about. They fight. They're going to push Galactus into the hole. And then it's the same thing where Silver Surfer at the end, sacrifices herself to push him finally in the hole. And that I would have been satisfied if that's how the last confrontation ended.
Yeah, the Silver Surfer turn didn't have enough beats in it really to be believable for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I agree with everything about the teleportation just being completely ridiculous and me spending a large portion of my time in the theater thinking like, how is this going to work? So creating more problems than solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
then
mm-hmm.
so Sue pushes as hard as she can, which thought the same thing. They try to do a teamwork thing, but it's really half-hearted. And Sue is a MVP, right? The most valuable player here.
Right.
And I never really, I know she has the force power in other movies and whatnot, but the connection there for how she's invisible and she has force power is
They
always.
never really explain it. Yeah.
I know
In the movie, they don't explain it, but
it seems kind of ridiculous to me. But so she pushes and pushes, and obviously she strains herself and she dies,
mm-hmm.
like kind of, right? And then they pull baby Franklin out to save her life in the very end, which I didn't for 5 seconds think that she was actually going to die or that there were any going to be any actual stakes in the movie. So,
Right. Did you think it was weird that when so the baby like the baby, they just put the baby on her. They're not like, go heal her, right? They didn't know
mhm.
the baby was going to do this. They put the baby on her. Everyone's expecting the baby to glow or the eyes of the baby to do something. The baby does nothing except
Right.
look at
Yes.
her, and then her eyes glow and she's alive again, which I
Right.
thought was a strange choice that they didn't have anything visual to show the baby was doing something to resurrect the mom.
They wanted to leave it ambiguous.
I guess. I mean, we all know that's what's going on.
Saved by a baby. It just, oh my God. So much of this just seemed ridiculous to me. But
Yes.
all right, anything else or
I guess final, I would have given this movie a C plus. I liked it. I think I liked it a little bit better than Superman, but it felt very averagey, standardy safe. It needed something deeper, and I think it needed, as I said, the two things. Reed Richards needed to be written differently. To be, he actually needed to be like the leader character and a motivating character, an inspiring character for the audience and for the rest of the team. And then also the lore question, the moral question about Galactus's role in the universe and whether the sacrifice, the few for the many is worth it. Because I mean that would be interesting because usually in these sorts of movies, the answer is you should sacrifice the few for the many. And this is kind of like the opposite. So
yeah, Spock would be very pissed at this.
right, right.
Yeah.
So that would have been interesting for them to kind of delve into that.
Well, they really need to debate that. So there really is nothing of that debate over the serious question, which I think a more serious tone would complement. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're actually doing a rating that's like a grade school rating, A
Yes.
to F minus. I
Yes.
mean, I think I've given some movies an F minus. I haven't come up with a scale yet. I'm trying to think of a scale that's more movie friendly, as in like I loved it, I'll go see it immediately, or I liked it, or I it was okay, I was bored, I left the movie theater, right? I think I would give this I liked it, didn't love it. So, but I'm still working on my scale.
Yeah, I think so. My scale would be I watched it, I enjoyed it while I was watching it. I will probably never watch this movie ever again.
Right. I watched it. I was a little bored while I was watching it for the first time. I was extremely bored when I was listening to it a second time. So I could actually jot out some notes. And the things that were ridiculous to me on first viewing were even more ridiculous on second viewing and actually
Mm-hmm.
somewhat painful. So I think on
Right.
second watch, and I think on the watch 20 years from now, I think people will be like, oh, this movie didn't hold up. So,
Yeah, this is not going to be something anyone talks about going forward.
right. All right. We'll leave it there.